They say the 90s were simple, but some of us grew up in homes where nothing ever felt safe.
The TV showed families laughing around living room lights, but mom was yelling in the kitchen another long loud night. Other kids had moms who stayed home and dads who tucked them in. I had a mom working doubles and a dad who didn't give a shit, just drowning himself in beer again. I remember hearing doors slam, listening from the hall, trying to guess if tonight would end in silence or a brawl. People talk about the 90s like they were nothing but fun and bright, but some of us were just kids trying to make it through the night. I didn't get the 90s they promised on TV, no perfect little world where somebody protected me. I grew up in the cracks where the light barely hit, learning how to survive before I ever learned to sit. I had to fight through that pain. I had to fight through that pain. Some kids had hot meals, waiting, home videos on Christmas morn. We had arguments before school and pretending everything wasn't torn. Some had dads fixing bikes, teaching them how to steer. Mine cared more about the bottle than ever being here. Some had moms who had time to sit down, listen and stay. Mom was fighting to survive, worn out every single day. But even in the chaos, even in the noise, we learned how to be stronger than the ones who stole our joys. We weren't raised on comfort, we were raised on resilience. I didn't get the 90s they promised on TV, no perfect little world where somebody protected me. I grew up in the cracks where the light barely hit, learning how to survive before I ever learned to sit. I had to fight through that pain. I had to fight through that pain. I grew up fast, way quicker than a kid should ever learn. Reading rooms and warning signs like fire you can't unburn. Other kids had space to fall apart and still feel held. I had to stay steady in storms I never should have felt. I knew danger by the way a grown man's eyes would linger too long. Learned to shrink my body when wandering hands felt wrong. I knew how to hide pain before I knew how to spell my name. Mastered acting okay in a world that never played the same. While they were chasing memories they keep their whole life through, I was patching up pieces no one ever even knew. Their childhoods were soft, mine taught me how to fight, how to build myself in shadows, how to sleep through louder nights. I learned strength wasn't loud, it was quiet and unseen, cause I was carrying grown-up weight before I'd ever been a teen. I grew into a woman nobody thought I'd ever be. Turned every scar into strength, built my own security. And I swore on every memory that ever left me bruised, my kids would never feel the kind of love I had to lose. I gave them safety, gave them home, gave them more than I received. Turned the chaos I survived into the peace that they believe. I became the voice I needed, became the shelter I never had. Became the proof that you can rise when life hands you something bad. The childhoods look like magic, warm kitchen, steady hands. Cause I broke the cycle no one else would even try to understand. I didn't get the 90s they promised on TV, no perfect little world where somebody protected me. I grew up in the cracks where the light barely hit, learning how to survive before I ever learned to sit. I had to fight through that pain. I had to fight through that pain. I didn't get the 90s they promised, my kids got the childhood I used to pray for. That's how I know the cycle's broken.